Counting down the days, the future feels so distant. A lot of things have changed, and few have been resistant.
Hello, friends. Hello, dear friends. It's time. It's time to talk. Oh,
Hello.
I gotta break screen out. Now it's time to talk. Hello.
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 It occurs to me, Scott. Well, two things. One, I actually was gonna play the Elwood theme to kick us off, and then just scream the entire time over it that we own the copyrights to this song and to fuck off. And I was like, upload this to YouTube. Upload this to YouTube.
Fuck you.
Hey, we own the rights to this song.
Fuck you.
Yeah, you know Keegan? I know Keegan. He works on a little Twitch stream called The Complaint Department.
Which is the YouTube channel that we're uploading this stuff on.
But that felt like a bit that would be hard to keep up for 3 minutes, especially without stopping to explain to everybody, like, hi, earlier today we attempted to upload all of our podcast episodes and a lot of other Twitch content to our YouTube channel, which is now active. Thank you very much to the efforts of one Scott,
You're
aka
welcome.
Night Raven, aka Dkaelynd here, who has bolstered our YouTube presence from 0 to something. Um,
Yay.
and one of the things that happened was that we put the Elwood theme over our little video intro, as you well know, and it got copyright claimed like immediately by some dude who I guess uses a similar sampling situation as like Penrose does. And as a result, it turns out it wasn't actually any evil human being like intentions at all. I was ready to fucking go to war. I was like, who is claiming Penrose's music? Turns out it's just like an algorithm thing that they use like a similar sample pack, and as a result, like the algorithm is bamboozled.
Well, that's the thing.
But I was like ready to punch throats.
That's the thing. Like, out of all 6 episodes of our co-op stream, episode 1 to 4 had no copyright claims against it at all. But yet 5 and 6 had all the copyright complaints. It's like, what?
Yeah, we I was gonna say you put the song in all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything that I do has the intro that I made for us. Penrose started using it as well.
So
And
yeah,
it's like, what the hell?
yeah.
YouTube, get your act together.
We don't precisely understand the forces at work here, but we do know that they are stupid, very stupid. So
You are stupid. You are stupid.
I
You
was
are
gonna say,
stupid.
I was very curious to see if Garrett screaming over the Elwood theme song about content ID, if that would get claimed. Or if I would be able to scream hard enough to where it didn't get content ID'd. To that point, you should probably edit out the intros where I'm playing Scandroid and shit. Because while Scandroid is very much approved for Twitch use, it is not at all. And so is Gunship, so is like Morgan Perry, so is the Midnight, so is Cell Dweller. All that's approved for Twitch, but none of those things are approved for YouTube.
Well, the thing is, though, in that is we're not trying to go for monetary on YouTube. So
we're
that's
not.
the only thing that they're getting claimed for is just monetary issues. So
If you think we can do it, then just do it.
I'm not really worried about monetary issues. It's just the thing that pissed me off was the Keegan thing of them claiming that this is somebody else's. I'm like, what?
Right?
No?
Yeah, the nature of that specific song being like, no. The dude who made this song works for me.
Yeah, they work for us. What the hell?
Yeah, right. It wasn't explicitly made for me, but it definitely wasn't made for with like the Hypnot or like whatever the fuck that other guy that claimed it was.
Yeah.
Now I'm coming to realize that it probably probably didn't. It probably wasn't the conscious effort of any one person, just so much a content ID algorithm doing its thing.
Well, that's the thing.
Yes, and it is. AK is also correct. Empire Steel is fixed neon, so as long as you put credits in the description, it's actually fine.
Yeah, I can easily edit those. That's not a big deal.
Man, we talked about this a lot on our first podcast episode, like how much the synthwave community specifically has like shown up for content creators in the way that they making their music like available broad spectrum across all platforms. That's really tight, but we're not talking about that today. Today we're talking about video game movies. I know I've got at least Theta and AK in chat, so I want to hear what you guys have seen. I want to hear what you guys have liked. I want to hear what you guys have not liked. And we'll start with that. So, the I did know that. Yes, I did know that. I didn't know Scandroid and Cell Dweller and Clayton were the same person. I guess that makes sense. I knew Cell Dweller and Clayton were the same person. I didn't know he was also Scandroid. That dude must have infinity time. He runs a publishing company. He's like the largest producer in the synthwave space. He is the sole proprietor and like figurehead of 3 different synthwave groups. And I have no idea. I have no idea. The dude's efficient. He's highly efficient. But I
think
feel
we got our
like
first.
say what?
I think we got our first video game movie.
Yeah, Theta talking about the 2006 Silent Hill movie.
I thought that one was actually really good. I saw it in theaters.
You know, in 2006, I feel like people came down a little bit hard on the Silent Hill movie.
It was really good.
It's one of those videos that you go to. I'm looking at the I'm looking at the like the reviews on it, and like it's an 88% on Google reviews. 88% of the people liked it on Google amongst Google users. You know, just kind of this generalist poll, yay or nay of the public. Meanwhile, it has like a 30 on Rotten Tomatoes. But it was like a 6.5 on IMDb. And then it has like a 30 on Metacritic. So like there's clearly zero consensus.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, the biggest problem that people have is if it's not faithful to the source material, like 100%, and it's not like a word for word verbatim, it's garbage in people's eyes.
Well, yeah, I halfway agree with that. I end up kind of feeling like video game movies have always struggled for like this one big paradigm of a reason, in the idea that they have to appeal or attempt to appeal and often fail to appeal to 2 very distinct demographics of people with 2 very distinct set of expectations.
Yeah.
And the idea that like people go to see these because they want, you know, the standard, you know, sort of like, you know, they want to be able to experience it as a movie. They want it to have pacing like a movie. They want it to have, you know, sort of character development like a movie. They want it to have payoff like a movie. They want it to have a nice wrapped up, condensed, you know, sort of like under 2 minutes under 2 hour, under 2 hour experience like a movie, you know, with like, you know, they want the, you know, you want it to make sense as a movie. And then meanwhile, you have the people who are seeing it because they know it as a video game, and they are looking for the fan servicey bits. You know, they are looking for, you know, is their favorite character, is their favorite scene, is that cool thing that happened in level 7, you know, like all this sort of stuff. Like, are the penultimate callbacks, are all of the cool side characters, you know, they're looking for like a lot of the substance that you get in a video game. And I think that gets progressively more complicated the more large in scope a video game is. Silent Hill, I think, was a great example of a game or a game that could succeed as a movie. In the idea that like, oh yeah, you could envision a world where like all of the story beats in the Silent Hill universe or in the Silent Hill experience could be captured within a cinematic setting. Same thing with like Max Payne. You know, you could understand a situation where it's like, oh yeah, I could definitely see that sort of taking place in a movie, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Tomb Raider, you could very easily expect where that would all, you know, kind of fall into play.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get into some weird territory with, you know, I mean, the one that comes to mind is like Warcraft.
It was good,
Final
but it was
Fantasy.
also bad. That was.
Well, yeah,
Warcraft.
and then you know, a lot of the Warcraft probably was a bad example because that I think I just don't think Warcraft was really made for American audiences in a ways that we would expected it to be. It was made for international audiences, and I hate to say it, by extension, by being Canadian, you are an American audience.
Yeah, we are. We really are.
Yeah, you guys are an American audience. Typically,
I'm not gonna lie, but I'm waiting. Like, I don't say this very lately, but I think Fallout pretty much summed it up the most. It's only a matter of time before the U.S. annexes Canada. We're essentially the north of
We
US.
do outnumber you quite significantly. But
Anyway. We're not talking about that.
point being that the Canadian tastes are often very very homogenous with the American experience.
Uva Bowl. Anything that Uva Bowl touches is a dumpster fire.
Let's see. I've been going back up in the comments.
God.
Only video game movies I've seen are SMB episode 75 and Legacy. That's okay, AK. That being said, there's probably a few that you do like. I don't even know what kind of movies you enjoy, AK, if I'm being honest. And Theta doubling down on the Silent Hill movie. I should clarify for the specific experience of talking to Theta here that I think the Silent Hill movie wasn't perfect. I don't think it checked all the boxes. But do I just think it deserves like a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes? Absolutely not. That was a solid
That was a
6 to
75 at
7
least.
out of 10 movie experience there. I think, yeah. And for at a time when, I mean that was, let's see, that was 2006. So like that was right around the time, like what else was going on in 2006?
I think Spider-Man 2 was coming out then?
Yeah, that's true.
Or 3, I'm not sure. One of the two.
I mean, was it better than the Hitman movie that released in 2007?
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably
yes, it was.
fair. Was
Yes,
it better
was.
than the Alone in the Dark movie, which released in 2005 that definitely everybody has heard of?
Yes.
Was it better than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Doom movie that released in 2005?
Yes. That's a hesitant yes. Because only the reason why is because the redeeming factor of the Dwayne Johnson Doom movie was when they did the first person shooter moment.
Oh, they just turned it into a fucking carnival ride? Yeah, that was pretty wild that they decided to do that, I think.
Yeah. The ending was towards the end where they do the first person and him through his eyes, and it's just like it was like that was cool. I'm like, all right, it's a redeeming factor.
Was it better than the 2006 action adventure classic Dead or Alive?
Yes.
Or that Far Cry movie that definitely everybody knew came out in 2008?
Never saw it, so I can't judge it.
It is absolutely dog shit. Don't go see it.
Wasn't planning on it.
Oh, man.
Resident Evil. Okay, so the first two I thought were amazing. I loved the first one because the Red Queen just set the tone.
Wait, Dkaelynd, what is that?
What is that?
What is that? What is that?
It's the announcement.
There was a Castlevania sub notification that I do not remember setting up that just dropped.
I set that up.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Okay, there we go.
I think it's kind of cool. Like, we needed something unique. Well, we can change that. I just
No,
put it in there
I
as a
actually
sub.
like it. It's just exactly the fucking thing that you would do. You know what I mean? I need to put the alert box on top. There we
I'm
go.
not gonna lie, but this is what happens when you leave me to my own devices.
Very well. I mean, I was absent. You actually nailed it. AK, thank you for the subs. Darkness the actor, hello and I love you. Thank you for stopping in. AK, thank you for 2 gifted subs, both for Vladimirovich and for Theta. Killjoy Laserbeam, hi. And
Sup, Killjoy.
yeah. AK gifting subs because Vladimirovich dropping in to say that he disliked the commercials. Well, guess what? There's no commercials when you fucking sub, baby. And AK, it's a fucking gift from God, so he's gonna take sure of that.
But yeah, no, like Resident Evil 1 and 2, I thought were fun movies. They were very dark, they were
Right.
very straight to the point, and they fit the Resident Evil theme based off of video games. Like the source material was great.
I didn't care for him, but I also think they don't deserve the hate that they do. I think
until you get to movie 3 and on.
yeah, I mean, sure. There comes a point where the director was like really just trying to get his wife in as much of like just as much content as possible.
It was a director's wet dream for his wife.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
It gets weird at a certain point. So I guess oh God, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I feel like
Oh no. AK hit 100K channel points.
oh yeah, for
We're
sure.
doomed.
I did
We're
tell
doomed.
him that if he that I would set up, and I do intend on following through with this, that I would set up a channel point system that would allow him to reverse my controls, because I'm always giving him shit about having his axes inverted. So
I'm just waiting for people to start redeeming points to go, oh, I want this character named this. Or I want you to drop this in my retro nights. It's like, God damn it.
yeah, those moments are few and far between, but very influential. So
Yeah, because it's going to make game modes like really hard.
right. So I think we should let's get organized on this conversation. We'll talk about.
All right.
I figure this conversation kind of breaks down on 4 different vectors. We've got the new video game movies, and we've got old video game movies.
New versus old? Okay.
We've got, well, not necessarily versus, but just kind of like, where did they come from? Where did they go? And then we've got unabashedly bad video game movies. And then we've got good video game movies. So those are probably the 4 vectors that this conversation takes, as far as like everything is concerned.
I will point this out though, in that these are just our opinions, and everybody has the right to their own opinion, and it's all good.
And I'm going to disagree with Dkaelynd all day, I'm sure. Well, let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, I know.
I was going to say, you know what,
against
chat, take your bets. Take your bets right now. How many? I'm curious. How many fundamental disagreements on movies are we? Tell you what. Maybe the better question is, how many movies? Assuming we are going to talk, let's say that we are going to talk about in depth, roughly 10 movies today.
Ooh, I actually got an idea for you, Garrett.
What's that? How many are we going to agree upon? How many are going to agree that we both like? Okay, you go. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, let's put a wager on the table.
A wager? Okay,
Yes.
then name your terms.
All right, so whoever gets the most votes, you have to pick the game they have to play. So if I lose, you get to choose my next game on Thursday.
Which is what called like make your friend's next stream miserable.
That's the point. That's the point. Well, not really a point, but it's more the sense of let's spicing things up a bit. I mean, I'm currently just started Final Fantasy VI, so yeah, it's gonna be a while for me. But you're towards the end of Fantasy or Paradise Killers.
I am towards the end of Paradise Killer, something that I do need
which
to pick up and stream
means
again.
we get to pick. If I win, I get to pick your next game.
Oh
But
God,
if
that's
so win-
so high stakes because any of the games you give me are going to be monsters.
And I'll say this now: no Dark Souls will be on the table, or Bloodborne.
I played Dark Souls and Bloodborne 1,000 times over, like
I know.
over
I'm
like
not gonna
Castlevania.
I'm not going to choose any of those. It's going to be recent.
Okay.
So it won't be any of those older games and that, because I know how much you hate retro.
I don't hate retro
I'm
games. I
just
just don't
teasing
love
you.
as many of them as you do, nor do I enjoy playing them in quite the same way. They're like that
So
belongs in a museum kind of scenario.
So what do you got? What do you think, chat? You think we should do with that?
That we would have to name very specific terms.
All right, pick a game that you have to play through.
Halo 1.
Oh, you're gonna torture me, aren't you? Fucking hate Halo. All right, all right.
No.
all right.
No. I thought you liked retro shooters.
Not exactly. I don't like Halo, not because of the
If
fact
I was
that I don't
really
like.
interested in drawing blood, I would say Kerbal Space Program. But
I'd actually enjoy playing that because I have a guilty pleasure for stuff like that.
oh, okay. Well, you maybe you should do Kerbal Space Program.
All right.
Okay, Kerbal Space Program.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. A game which I do not own.
I don't own Kerbal Space Program, so
That's true.
it's a double whammy. I have to go buy a game. You have to go buy a game.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Okay.
And it is the spiritual successor of Castlevania.
Man, if you
Done by
start streaming Kerbal Space Program, I'm just gonna start streaming Kerbal Space Program.
I'm just gonna freaking do it all day.
Yeah. Because they've got that new multiplayer patch out now.
Oh no!
It's a mod. It's a mod, but it works really well. So theoretically, we could do it together. Okay, if there is a clear and concise winner tonight, as far as people overwhelmingly siding with one of us, not an ambiguous tie, not this whole sort of thing or whatnot.
Is Kerbal your serious pick?
I would love to see you play Kerbal. I'm not necessarily trying to set you up for something you'd be miserable playing.
I know.
If the intention was to make you miserable, I would make you miserable. There's a lot of games you hate.
Oh, I know. I know the perfect game that you would totally make me play.
Right.
There's a list that I already know a couple that you'd pick.
Well, it's either that or Carry On.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. That's also on the list. It's gonna pick from one of those. And those are games that I think that you wouldn't play unless I nudged you, but will probably enjoy in earnest.
All right.
So
I have a list too. I have 3 games.
Okay, what
you
are
get
they?
to pick one. Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night.
Okay.
The next one is Fallout 1.
Okay.
And another one that I gotta go to my Steam to look up because I know I have it.
Okay, I'm adding Hades to your list then.
I love Hades though.
Okay, fuck it. I'm not adding Hades to your list.
Let's see here.
I'm
Vampire the
adding
Masquerade Bloodlines.
Oh God. Okay. That's fair. I'm not gonna pick that one, but okay, it's on the list.
I know it's not.
Ooh.
I mean, I could have been brutal and went Undertale and watched the internet crucify you on the net.
Yeah, for sure. Watch me do.
But I'm not going to be doing that.
Watch me do a non-pacifist playthrough of Undertale, and watch me just go viral on Reddit as the worst person on earth. Hello, Penrose. Hello,
Hi,
Penrose. I'll think about what my third option is. Okay. But I guess to the point. Let's talk about some old video game movies. Let's talk about, some of the stuff from the 90s. So when I say 1990s video game movie, name 3 that come to mind.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. Okay.
Those are 2.
I was gonna say, given the fandom that has brought us together as friends, I would imagine there's a sensible third.
To be fair, let's see here. Ooh, that's a good question. I think the only one that I can think of that was released in 1993 was Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Wing Commander would have also been acceptable.
Double Dragon was another one.
Double Dragon would have been acceptable, certainly. And I believe Mortal Kombat Annihilation came out.
We don't talk about that one. That was terrible.
Really? It's actually my favorite of the 2. But that was...
But it was so bad.
Well, yeah, duh!
I think the only thing that was cool was, Smoke and Sector and that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I would say that the soundtrack to Mortal Kombat was prolifically formative in like the mainstream appeal of electronic dance music.
This is true. This
Yes.
is very true.
And that's a really interesting paradigm for a movie to exist on, considering the game. When you think of like like paradigms of EDM and like like moments, but that like test your might, dun 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 dun
You're like,
dun
holy
dun
crap.
dun 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 dun. That was not popularized by the video game. That wasn't something that got big because the video game made it big. That was something that got big because the movie made it big.
Yep.
And as somebody who spent a lot of the 90s going and early thousands going to martial arts tournaments, I can tell you that song got a lot of play.
Oh,
It got a lot of play. So,
Yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of support for me playing Undertale in the chat right now. I've actually never played it. I've never played it.
ooh, first time playthrough.
Yeah, it would
Maybe
be a first look. I haven't even looked up anything about it.
Maybe that should be the game that we pick.
I do own it. It was purchased for me, but it was purchased for me like the week that the whole like fandom thing like started to boil. So I didn't even install it.
What do you think, guys? Think we should? If I win, he does Undertale. You realize now they're going to
say we don't have a clear criteria for even how to establish a winner at this point. So
Not yet.
not yet, but maybe that'll come later.
Right.
For right now, we're covering that, but. Mortal Kombat. I mean, like, more or less, more or less the conversation about video game movies starts with the Mario movie, the Super Mario Brothers.
Yep.
Right. I mean, that's fair. Do you know offhand if there were any quote unquote video game movies made before that? Because I don't know of any. I know of none.
Let's see, actually.
Yeah, if I go to Google and type in first video game movie,
Let's see here.
it
List of
is
video
going
game
to tell me
movies.
the Super Mario Brothers movie, May 28th of 1993. Ooh,
Yep.
actually, that movie is just about to have its birthday.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, as of the end of this month, that movie will be 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
28 years old.
The next stinker that came out after that one was Double Dragon.
Yeah, Double Dragon was less than a year, or just a little over a year later, and then right on the tails of Double Dragon, Street Fighter came. And Street Fighter...
That was a guilty pleasure. I'm sorry.
It wasn't bad. I don't know that it was good.
It was average at best.
It gave us one of the greatest quotes of all time. The one where Bison is talking to Chun-Li, and he's like, "That's because the day that M. Bison visited your village was the most formative and important day of your life. And for me, it was a Tuesday."
I love that.
A quote that would go on to be referenced in a whole manner of media, up to and including something that I think Ronan the Defiler, is that his name in the MCU, the first bad guy that the Guardians of the Galaxy killed? I'm pretty sure he does a riff off that quote, like a reference to it.
Yeah.
In any case, yeah, super prolific. I don't even know that anybody. I was watching that in the theater, and I heard him say like, "But for me, it was a Tuesday," or something like that. And I need to look up and make sure I didn't fucking imagine that.
Right.
But I was freaking out because I was like, "Does anybody realize that's a Street Fighter reference?" Then I realized like, no, of course no one realizes it's a Street Fighter reference because these are all decent people. They didn't watch the Street Fighter movie.
Another one I loved the most was the "of course" gag that was used constantly.
Of course. Yeah, so we've got right out the gates the Super Mario Brothers movie right out the gate, which is it's certainly a way to start.
What's the most memorable? Um, what's the most memorable moment in that movie for you?
The Super Mario Brothers movie, it has been
Yeah,
a long time since I saw um, the Super Mario
same here.
Brothers movie. So I would say the thing I really remember is the Goomba costumes.
Mine was the Goombas things too, but mine
Yeah.
was in the elevator scene when they're making them dance back and forth.
Yeah, I would just go ahead and say the Goombas writ large are the most just how
Yeah,
absolutely buck wild and stupid and insane like all that was. But I think this is an important thing to know is that rewind a couple of years, and I'm not sure that Rich would do much different.
probably not.
I don't know
I
that.
mean,
Yeah, I don't know that. Like, you take Rocky Morton out of the director position and you throw Rich Alvarez at the same age, but currently living in the '90s into that spot. I think you get something that's roughly similar.
pretty
Um,
much.
it did hit a box office about 40 million in '93. Um,
The the downside about it was though in that it was kind of one of those people were like, I don't. They were mixed feelings about it. It was like I don't know if this was good or bad.
right.
That
Well, it was. It was one of those things where it was like if it didn't succeed in broadening the audience of video games because if people knew what the Super Mario Brothers were, God, I have to literally reprogram my brain not to say stupid Mario. But if people knew what the Super Mario Brothers were, then see, literally almost did it right there. If people knew who the Super Mario Brothers were, then generally speaking, they walked out of that. Those were the people that were like enjoying that movie, or people who like knew the video
yeah,
game, and all this sort of stuff. People who went in kind of understanding what it was, but like not quite like getting it kind of thing, walked out feeling very weird. And I
yeah,
imagine that a lot of people who went into it not knowing the video game stuff felt like they didn't have enough information to really like, make sort of it. There was like it didn't succeed in bridging the video game gap. Meanwhile, it made so many weird decisions about like, like the Goombas are the descendants of the dinosaurs and Bowser this and all this sort of stuff that like were just never referenced in the game to try to like spark mainstream appeal with like normal folks that I think it alienated the video game audience a little bit too. And I think that binary set the precedent for literally all video game movies forever.
yep. Oh no, there's a poll. 100% yes. Apparently, they want you to play
Well, that's
Undertale.
100% with one vote, mind you.
Yeah, that's true. Come on, guys. No, I'm kidding. um, but when it comes to like the Mario Brothers, I thought it was a fun movie
No, it was fun for sure. It's just
overall.
I like that I enjoy that it set up this binary of
I I loved the concept of the boots.
right.
Why they jumped so high was the boots. Like that's awesome.
No, yeah, it was good. It was good. It's funny that the funniest part of it to me, like I said, is the fact that you look back at the very first video game movie and it's suffering from largely the same sort of like narrative dissonance that almost every single other video game movie in the space has ever suffered from. The challenge to like have enough mainstream appeal to somebody who hasn't experienced the video game, but also have
Right.
enough attention to detail and faithfulness to the source material that it appeals to the video game users. And then, third of all, somehow finding a way to take an open-ended, sort of like an experience from a completely different medium and then condense it meaningfully into cinema. Um, I'm really enjoying the idea that all of this just comes down to the idea. I'm really enjoying the idea that we may very well be on the cusp of seeing video game miniseries, video game
Well,
Netflix shows, and whatnot. I feel like the video game medium has always been more cut out for episodic content. I don't know, why it's been exclusively video games up until this point, or it's been exclusively movies up until this point.
right.
Fingers crossed that whenever they get their shit together on that Hyrule show, the live action Netflix Hyrule show, that
Oh, you didn't hear.
it's like, oh, is that not happening?
No,
Oh, cool.
they can't. Nintendo can't have pulled the plug on it because it was leaked.
Generally speaking, that means Nintendo will sit on it for a couple months and then bring it back. But
Maybe.
who knows?
Let's see here. What else is there?
I was gonna say we'll need to advance through these and whatnot because we had this big glut of video game movies like in the mid '90s. That's I think sort of reached a fever pitch with Mortal Kombat 1 in 1995.
Yeah,
that was
Mortal
really
Kombat
when,
was amazing
because we got Double Dragon, which is objectively bad.
We don't even have to touch that movie. It was terrible.
Whatever, it's fine. We got a Double Dragon, which is objectively bad. But like I don't know, fun, sure. It's just weird, kooky movie.
I wouldn't even say it was fun. It was kind of one of those. Oh,
What?
okay.
What's happening? What is happening? What is happening? Yeah, all that sort of stuff. And then we got Street Fighter in '94. Cool, step in the right direction. And then we got Mortal Kombat in 1995. And it was like, boom.
Holy crap. Holy crap. Like, you got goosebumps at the right at the beginning of the movie when Shang Tsung went, your sword is mine.
It's one of the, your
You're
soul
like,
is mine. Like, that's, it was fucking so campy. It was so campy.
But it was so
and it didn't
good.
matter. It didn't matter. It was just like, it was just good. And, I'm going to use this as a conversation to bridge into the, it's funny because Mortal Kombat came out and committed largely you could go list for list on the things it did well and list for list on the things that it did poorly. And literally that is what just happened with the new Mortal Kombat movie. Did you get a chance to see the new Mortal Kombat movie? Did anybody in chat get a chance to see the new Mortal Kombat movie?
I did not yet.
Okay, I was blown away by the fact that it is basically a 2-hour video game cinematic.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it doesn't even attempt to get the normies on board. Okay? It doesn't even attempt. But Faith went in to see it, and Faith hated it because she was like, what is happening? Who are these people? Why should I care? Who's that? Why does that guy have 4 arms? Who's this guy? What's Outworld? Like, that was just like the entire time. It was just like all this sort of stuff. Because it just assumes you're your balls deep in the game. It's just sort of like, and Kung Lao and Raiden are now here. Okay, Kung Lao and Raiden are fighting Milana, and Jax has robot arms, and there's things called Anima in the Outworld, and there's this person. It doesn't explain itself at all. But if you're somebody who's like familiar with Mortal Kombat and all that sort of stuff, then that's that it seems to be a pretty good experience. Yeah, basically the list in and amongst like the Rich Alvarez crew, the list of people who found that experience compelling and interesting, and the people who found it to be disappointing were basically divided straight down the middle in 2 categories. One being people who have played Mortal Kombat and people who have not played Mortal Kombat. So that's
then
all
Mortal
good.
Kombat Annihilation came out.
97 is when Mortal Kombat Annihilation came out.
Oh boy.
2 years later. Test your might.
The song and the music were great. The storyline and the characters. Oh boy. Okay. Are we ready to touch this one? Because I've got a long list of problems with this one.
What, with Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
Oh yeah.
I don't want to dwell on it. I think we both agree that it was objectively inferior.
It was a dumpster fire.
It was. And here's what's interesting, too. By all accounts, Mortal Kombat in 1995, we had 0 video game movies until Mortal Kombat in Annihilation in 1997. Well over 2 years later.
Yep.
Yeah, well over 2 years later, Mortal Kombat Annihilation was the thing. So you'll get a kick out of this, and I don't want you to Google it. I do not want you to Google it. Do you know what Mortal? We're gonna go ahead and guess. I'm gonna have you guess the difference in box office and the difference in Rotten Tomato ratings between these two. Okay. So this is an impossible question, but this is just me being conversational and setting it up. So Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat released in 1995, had a worldwide box office of a actually staggeringly impressive $125 million.
Mm-hmm.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, 2 years later, had a box office of what?
51 million.
Did you look that up?
No.
That's exactly right. Okay. Okay. Um,
The only reason why I knew this is because I looked it up earlier before we even started having this conversation.
right. Okay. So do you know the here? So Mortal Kombat, the original, had a Rotten Tomatoes rating of 48%. Do you know what the Rotten Tomato rating for Mortal Kombat Annihilation is? I was gonna say you might know this one because it is one of the lowest rated movies in Rotten
2%.
Tomato history at a whopping 2%. 2%, ladies and gentlemen.
It is literally the worst video game movie rating in Rotten Tomatoes' eyes of all time.
Yeah, and that's crazy because they gave Dungeon Siege, In the Name of a King, 4%. Which I think, in my own mind, is objectively the worst video game movie that's ever been made.
I have to agree with you on that one. Dungeon Siege was like, what am I watching?
Also, that's probably not fair. You could compare it to the Far Cry movie, which was like, the Far Cry movie was like an indie film, basically.
Yeah, I'm not watching it.
Well, yeah, it was fine.
No.
Although it did have like a 20th Century Fox stamp on it. For context, the Far Cry movie grossed $750,000.
Yikes.
Not even $1 million. Not even $1 million. And that is nowhere near the lowest grossing video game movie. Believe it or not.
Nope.
So here is yeah, that's great. My point being, the consensus is very clearly that Mortal Kombat Annihilation sucks shit. it's very bad. I don't know if it deserves a 2%, nor do I think it deserves its point the lowest. I do think that House of the Dead and Blood Rain and Dungeon Siege were all three worse than Far Cry, and Far Cry.
Actually, getting ahead of ourselves. Actually, Mortal Kombat Annihilation isn't the worst.
Is there a 1%er?
Yes, Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark. They gave Alone in the Dark a 1%.
Alone, worldwide box office was 10,000.
Wow, you're right.
10,400,000.
Oh my god, I had to look this up.
It's crazy, but then again, it's Uwe Boll. That guy only dishes out like video game movies just so he can pay his tax bracket and not have to worry about anything.
Right? Yeah, it was never meant to, like it wasn't intended to be like good.
No.
Tekken, they did produce that Warner Brothers movie, or Warner Brothers did produce that Tekken movie that no one knows about, and it technically got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's because it was nobody heard of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that was largely due to just its total non-existence. So let's take a look at the bottom of the bottom here. Let's go ahead and take the bottom of the bottom as far as the Rotten Tomatoes are concerned.
Far Cry, not applicable.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a few that just don't even have ratings.
Tekken had a 0 rating.
Yeah, it never even made it. I feel bad putting Tekken in the lowest spot because technically, like at that, I don't even think that anybody even knows what that movie could have been. But let's call ahead and say Alone in the Dark is the worst. Mortal Kombat is the next worst. Then we have House of the Dead, Blood Rain, Dungeon Siege, Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, which is a.
I love that movie. That movie was really well done.
Oh man, 17 out of 10 on 17 out of 100 on Metacritic, 5% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 12 million box office. But yeah, like 20th Century and Capcom were like behind it.
Yeah, there was only one problem with the entire movie. The casting choice for Bison. I thought
that's the
Bison,
one thing you're gonna lean on as far as that being wrong with the movie.
Bison just didn't feel like Bison. He just felt like some business guy.
I mean, I would agree with that being a valid criticism of the movie. I don't agree with is that being the sole criticism of the movie.
Did I think it was
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch
Yep.
it. I didn't friggin' watch it. So I'm not even in a position to really criticize it. Only know
Yeah.
that you're treading against public opinion there.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I get that, but I saw the movie in theaters. I'll openly admit the story was really well strung. It's just, it felt like one of those typical movies where the main character is wronged by some business tycoon that is in leagues with the criminal organization. Where have we heard that one before? Daredevil.
Well, we've heard that in a lot of things. It's a very, very, very
Right.
commonly visited trope. But who knows? It's also not a trope in Street Fighter. is what's weird.
It's actually the Legend of Chun-Li. The entire thing is her backstory.
Yeah, I realize that, but just
Yeah. Anyways,
weird character choice with Bison. Okay,
what's one? Here's one for you. What
Okay.
is one video game movie that was unique and stood out, no matter what anybody says or reviews have put?
this is so specific. What you were trying
know.
to bait me into an answer for one question. So say that again. You want me to find a video game movie that is unique and stands out?
It stood out for you specifically out of the list that has been released that you've seen personally.
Do you want this to be a movie that critics disagreed with?
Yes.
Like a movie where the general consensus is that this movie was bad and that I think it was good?
Well, that's the thing. The box office always 9 times out of 10 is usually wrong. But this thing is like a diamond in the rough that basically people have or critics and everybody around has buried it.
Be concise. You're asking me, about a movie that most people that didn't receive critical success, but or commercial success,
Right.
but I think was good.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I talked about Mortal Kombat Annihilation being sort of that a little bit because here's the thing though. I don't think Mortal Kombat Annihilation is great. I just don't think it's absolute bottom F tier nonsense. So I'll give it, I'll give a throw out to that one.
You want to know what mine is?
No, not yet. 'Cause I need to actually think of what my answer is.
right.
Yeah, you know what? Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I don't think it's an A+ movie. I don't even think it's a C+ movie. But to say that it's an F- 2% seems unusually cruel, especially considering the level of discrepancy between Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat Annihilation just seems cruel. It just seems so big.
Yep.
So. Okay, yeah. Now tell me yours.
Wing Commander.
I thought about saying Wing Commander.
That movie, I don't care what anybody says, that movie was amazing.
It was slow. It was pretty slow, and I could see
only
how it
issue
alienated
with it.
folks. But dog, if you liked Wing Commander,
Oh man,
that movie was Wing
that
Commander.
blew my mind.
It was also
was
a very
so good.
interesting time for it to come out because, it was right around. Let's see, Wing Commander came out in
99.
'99. Oh yeah, that was like the perfect
ideal
time for a Wing Commander movie to come out. So that's that is that. Let's go. Let me flip the script a little bit. Let me go
right.
to movies that people consider to be really good. And we'll see if you how we feel about some of the ones that people consider to be really really good.
Okay.
So without looking at your Wikipedia page, Do you
Right.
know offhand the top-rated video game, not top grossing, 'cause it's a different answer, the top-rated, and I will give you a multiple choice here. Is
Okay.
it Sonic the Hedgehog, the most recent, the new movie? Is it Detective Pikachu? Is it Mortal Kombat 1? Is it Dwayne the Rock Johnson's Dwayne the Rock Johnson's Rampage, or is it the newer Tomb Raider, the one that was released in 2018, not Angelina Jolie's in early 2000s?
Oh,
So to repeat, Tomb
I
Raider, Rampage, Mortal Kombat 1 from 95, Sonic the Hedgehog, Detective Pikachu. What has the most critical acclaim?
I have to go probably the Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu is correct. Um,
I saw that and I actually enjoyed it.
Detective Pikachu was magical, I think. I was going to throw out that I think it's underrated. I just think it was a better movie than people give it credit for. I know it has credit as like, one of the most successful video game movies of all time, but I just think more people should have enjoyed it. It
Right.
is worth mentioning that if we take Metacritic into account, which does have more user reviews, it does swing in favor of Mortal Kombat 1 at that point.
Well, yeah, because it was the campy. It was the campiness of it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if we're just talking purely critical acclaim, which was the question, then it is Detective Pikachu is the best, and Detective Pikachu is by a significant margin with a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Oh my god.
which is you've got Sonic the Hedgehog at 63, and below that you've got Mortal Kombat 1 at 55. So
I still can't get over that line from Mortal Kombat. Those were $500 glasses.
those
asshole.
were $500 sunglasses, asshole.
Asshole.
And then he does the splits and punches him in the nuts.
This is the part where you fall down.
Yeah.
Cheesy with Johnny Cage, and then they killed him off in 2. I was like, what? But he was the best character for comedy-wise.
yeah.
Why? Why is the comic relief always
Johnny
the one that-
Cage was very essential to the appeal of like old school Mortal Kombat, and it was a bummer that he didn't appear in the newest one. Sorry, I shouldn't spoil that for you, but
Yeah.
he's teased in the first one or in the most recent one. But yeah, go watch that movie. Just like go
I'm
like
planning on doing it.
just
I'm probably going to
okay,
watch
cool.
that.
4 drink minimum for starters. 4 drink minimum.
Glad I picked up two 2-liters of Coke Zero.
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta get a buzz going a little bit and just get hyped and just be like, yeah, idiots punching each other for sure, and you're gonna have the time of your life.
So, what was one movie that was overhyped that failed in the box office? I've got-
Boy, oh boy, actually, that's a pretty impressive list. I think most recently I was really let down by the Monster Hunter movie.
Me too. That was the one I was hyped for. It's like, I get into Monster Hunter World and I'm like enjoying this game, and they're like, they're making a Monster Hunter movie? Fuck yeah! And then you find out it's a dumpster fire, and I'm like,
I just don't understand
why?
why. Yeah, exactly. It's very bizarre that a movie like that would get made.
How
And
could
I
fuck
find
this
this
up?
as somebody who tries to ingest movies and like try to appreciate them for what they were. I'm always so baffled at the idea that I mean, this is not just to say with video game movies, but just like the film process in general. How like
Right.
a film will hit theaters, and you'll think about how many people made that movie, and you'll be like, everybody signed on for this. And then, of course, the answer isn't exactly like, well, no, a bunch of people worked on very nuanced minutia of the movie, and ultimately, kind of like it was put together by a handful of creative directors that ultimately had like a singular vision. Like the other day, I was like freaking out, having this existential crisis about the movie Cats and like how anybody allowed that to happen.
I know, right?
And I was just like, but
Why?
yeah, but not because it was terrible, but just because it was so baffling. I was like, this is so weird.
It's like nightmare fuel.
Why is Dame Judi Dench in that fursuit?
It's like your nightmares manifested into flesh.
Yeah.
And made cats.
Yeah, what?
Well, why?
Why is Gandalf drinking toilet water out of a barrel? Like,
Going on? That was basically
there are
entire...
Oscar-winning artists all over the spectrum of this. Oh, okay, here comes my wife to fucking weigh in. We're talking about video game movies. I just got caught out on a Cats rant because I was confused about the whole... Because you know that experience when you watch something, you're baffled that like 1,000 people allowed it to be made?
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention at all, but I heard
Hi,
you from
Holly.
the other room loudly.
You have to come closer because this is a localized mic.
I heard you from the other
I
room
can-
loudly project something to the effect of, "Why is Dame Judi Dench in a cat suit?"
Yeah.
And you probably didn't hear me, but I was...
Oh, I heard you yip, for sure. I heard you go,
So that's what I was inclined to join the conversation.
Okay, very good, very good.
That is all.
Hi, Holly.
Dkaelynd says hi.
Hello, Dkaelynd.
I think Killjoy Laserbeam also... Well, Killjoy doesn't say hi. Killjoy just says, Holly!
Killjoy!
AK says hello.
Hey, AK.
There you go.
Hello, everyone.
Do you have any weigh-ins on this? We're talking about video game movies.
Video game movies.
Movies that were video games.
I do not know if I have seen any movie that was a video game first.
Did you go to see Warcraft with me?
No.
No, that was me and Faith. You weren't there for Detective Pikachu. You weren't there for Rampage. You weren't there.
I haven't seen Rampage.
Sonic.
Any good? Is it worth it?
Yeah, I think Rampage is great. It's a Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie. How much do you like Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
A lot.
Okay, cool. You're gonna love it. It's The
I mean, my
Rock just
girlfriend-
being like, "Bah, bah, like we're gonna punch this," and I love animals, and then they become kaiju because of video game magic, and we gotta save the world. Da 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 da. Like it's not gonna win an Oscar, but it's really cool and fun, and especially I think it was a really really good choice for them to choose Rampage for the explicit reason that like it was old enough that there was no established canon. There was no way that people could come in with like really intense preconceived notions. It was just like, evil scientists in a lab made big angry monsters. Now play as them. And that was the whole thing. So they had like infinite wiggle
Shocking
room.
nobody.
Yeah, for that whole sort of thing. But
why is it always the evil scientists making all these random things happen?
You didn't see
got
Mortal
Resident-
Kombat. No. You didn't
You-
see
you've
Monster
got-
Hunter.
No.
I don't want to see Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list, Ball. I don't think you've seen a single one of these movies.
I've seen Sonic. I've seen
any of the
Detective.
Resident Evils.
Yeah.
No.
You're not missing much.
That's not to say I won't. I just haven't. You know?
Yeah.
I haven't even seen the new Tomb Raider yet.
You know?
I think it's forgettable, honestly. So, to weigh in on your earlier conversation.
No, I did see Angry Birds.
Oh, you saw the Angry Birds movie.
It was cute. It was fine. Like, I
Wait,
don't
there was an
remember a
Angry
ton,
Birds
but
movie?
I
Why is it not on this list?
liking it.
I was going to say,
was-
technically, so I was going to weigh in on this because I was looking at the Angry Birds stuff because if you include animated movies, technically Angry Birds 2 blows everything out of the water on its IMDb or its Rotten Tomatoes rating.
I've only seen the first one.
Angry Birds Movie 2 has a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Damn.
And I heard it was bad.
Well,
But
it has
good.
a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes, a full 10% above even the best live action movie. There's some
Yeah,
bad video
but-
game movies, babe. Look at these some of these Rotten Tomatoes ratings.
0%.
1% for Alone in the Dark, 2% for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, 3% for House of the Dead, 4% for Blood Rain, 4% like it just
It does not ramp
No, well, we cap out at Detective Pikachu getting a 67%. Although you go deeper in the list and you realize that like, um, all of a sudden you got like Angry Birds 2, which has somehow a 73% in Rotten Tomatoes.
In comparison.
So
Yeah.
here's some questions for you.
Okay.
Have you seen any of the fan-made video game movies?
No. Well, I mean, maybe. You may have heard of Richard Michael Alvarez.
Well, obviously, who's hasn't heard of him?
Perhaps you've heard of him.
I haven't like lived with him for like a week.
Sure.
Anyway,
But there was
Godspeed,
two
darling.
movies.
that's all I came in for.
There were two movies that were released that were fan made that, in my opinion, blew a lot of the movies out of the water. One of them was done by, or actually, sorry, there was three. One was done by the channel Awesome People, was based off of Sonic the Hedgehog,
Of course it was.
obviously. There was another one that was done based off Mega Man 1 that was really well done. And then there was one based off of Legend of Zelda called The Hero of Time. And seeing all three of those movies, I was like, why can't Hollywood do this? Like, why do they have to make stinkers of movies?
I mean, I don't want to sound cynical, but I'm fairly certain that the linear answer is producers, is because a bunch of people that can basically snap their fingers and produce $500 million film budgets, you have to sit down in a room and convince them that your movie is going to have mainstream appeal and, like, profitability. And some of them are just very interested in ROI and perfectly open-minded people, but just like, no, I don't think enough people will like that. Or, you know, nowadays, you know, it gets caught up in a lot of the Chinese censorship and stuff like, well, so we can't market it to China, then we're cutting ourselves off at the knees by 200 million, you know, kind of thing. So
Like Uwe Boll.
you know, that's an example. I also do feel like, and this comes from, you know, sort of like a very minuscule secondhand experience with like Hollywood production. I really do feel like I want you to imagine like the most stereotypical Hollywood producer, like the guy who's just like rubbing his hands together, who's like, there has to be a sex scene and a romantic subplot and a white guy main sort of thing, otherwise people won't buy it, yeah, or whatnot. And like, you know, it's just like, I want you to come up with like the scummiest, like most
Wow,
like
that sounds like the entire plot of Blood Rain.
yeah, well,
I mean, you're not wrong.
my point being that like I just want you to imagine like what you envision as like the most stereotypical, most hurtful stereotype you can imagine of a Hollywood producer, and I can tell you that there's like 100 people like that, like pulling shots in Hollywood like right now, like just old dudes completely out of touch who just have like an insane amount of money, who are just like, I literally will not finance something unless it has like, you know, Robert Downey Jr. in it, or like, you know, just, or
I highly recommend going to see the reviews of Alone in the Dark and Blood Rain by the Nostalgia Critic. It sums those movies up in a nutshell.
Yeah, I was gonna say any of these that we've mentioned are objectively bad, particularly Blood Rain and Alone in the Dark have some pretty amazing, just salted earth, scathing reviews from a handful of people who, like, you know, come from origins that we know, who would say that, like, you know, they are informed on both the cinema and the video game spectrum of the thing.
Yep.
Commonly, generally, universally loathed.
So, here's a better question. What's one video game movie that you would like to see made into a movie?
Good. I was waiting for this question. And Cat Chat, I want you to chime in on this one too. Everybody gets one. You get and to that point, before we begin, we should go over some of the movies that are currently in pre-production.
Yeah.
Because, you know, don't feel like, you know, maybe you change your answer knowing that you know, we're getting different sort of things. So a follow-up to Tomb Raider is
Yep.
is scheduled. We are looking at a Minecraft movie.
Gears of War.
That I imagine will be in pre-production for approximately 1,000 years. We're looking at a Mega Man movie. We are looking at a Gears of War movie, as Dkaelynd said. We're looking at a Detective Pikachu is almost certainly getting a sequel.
Borderlands.
Borderlands.
Why?
Is getting a movie. I think that's an excellent choice.
Uncharted. That one's pretty
Uncharted. Sonic the Hedgehog is very sensibly getting a sequel. The Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie is slated for release this year. Werewolves Within, which I guess technically was a video game first, is getting a video game release, or getting a movie release under the Ubisoft license. Just Dance, the Wii game, is getting a movie at some point.
Yakuza is finally getting a film, which I think
Yakuza is, and Rabbids. And also, there is a rumor, a deep, dark, terrifying rumor that a collaboration between Sony Pictures and Konami that just recently brokered a deal for a 10-year license on the Metal Gear franchise. We are going to see a Metal Gear Solid movie. So that one. AK wants a standalone Yoshi movie, but that'll never happen. Says him.
Detroit Become Human. I'm on board with that.
I think Detroit Become Human would be very good.
Awesome.
I think that's a very sensible choice. I would be very interested to see how we could do a Yoshi movie, only because Yoshi, by definition, is kind of a supporting character in the games. Yeah, I'm on board with.
Sure.
I'm on board with Detroit. We're also getting Last of Us. Last of Us got picked up by Netflix.
Surprising.
Yeah, it's got a cast. It's got a good cast.
I have two, but I'll only mention one. And no, it's not Castlevania.
Yeah, we got the anime. I think
Good enough.
I would love to just see that just blow up. I would just love to see just good more of that. You found the medium that Castlevania is best in.
Yep.
Metal Gear would be very high up there. I'm not going to say it for the idea that it appears to be people are on it as much as possible at the moment. Oh boy. I know technically we've got Forward Unto Dawn and we've had some kind of like Halo Light movies. I think it's really a shame that we never got to see like an actual live action Halo movie. Like a big one.
You want to know the two that I've got in mind?
I have to think if I have any others. Now I kind of want a Paradise Killer movie, to be perfectly honest.
I think it's that one being an anime series.
Yeah, I was gonna say an animated, like a 25 episode animated series is really what that needs to be. 100%. Okay, so I'll put in Paradise Killer for my 25 episode animated series, and just any large budget Halo. It seems to be Halo is like just a dummy, obvious choice for like this $250 million, sort of like blockbuster spectacular. And it's just never gotten off the ground.
Yeah.
So that's weird to me. That's weird that like it was attempted a few times in the early thousands. We got like some concept art, we got some videos that were made, and it just has been perpetually scrapped into oblivion, never to return. I don't get it. It seems like such an obvious choice. It's one of those games that like it's well set up to translate.
Yep.
Okay, tell me yours. I would rant about that all day.
All right. Number one that nobody mentioned that I think that should get one. Metroid.
Okay.
Metroid should have it.
I think Metroid's a really compelling choice.
The other one, if Mad Max can do it, why not Fallout?
Why not Borderlands?
Borderlands is getting a movie.
I know, but I just know. Why not? Why not Claptrap, Dkaelynd? Why not Claptrap? Claptrap's getting his movie, man. It's just a movie about Claptrap. It's Claptrap the whole time.
You're gonna like Clockwork Orange me on that thing, aren't you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
No, make it stop! Ah!
Don't be deceived
Yeah.
by my voice modulator. I'm actually quite depressed.
Ah! You just hear the screams from me.
Help me, Minion!
I would have to say Fallout for my second choice because I think Fallout needs one.
Okay, so I'm gonna like double down even harder and ask you like what very specific part of the Fallout canon would you be interested in looking at? I don't want like crazy details. I want like I would follow X person from X faction during X time period.
Never mind that. Just give us a movie version of frickin' New Vegas.
So you want
Enough
something
said.
set in New Vegas.
Or, well, anything like that. Like, give us a Vault Dweller going on a mission, doing the thing in the wasteland. Done.
Okay. Yeah. What would be like? Would it follow like Mr. House? And like
Could
in
be like
his
Mr.
escapades?
House. It could be like Mr. House aspect. It could also go like if you really wanted to, you could do the whole story from Fallout 4.
I would not do New Vegas. I think New Vegas has insane appeal as a video game, but I think for a movie, you'd be stupid not to go like all in on the Brotherhood of Steel.
Well, yeah. Or
I
the
just think
NPR.
that makes more sense for cinema because you could set up, you know, sort of like the Renegade Ranger, like all this sort of stuff. The Brotherhood of Steel makes a Brotherhood of Steel like loyalist who experiences something
Ooh.
really grim and then
What if-
betrays the Brotherhood and turns against them, like much in the same way that like Finn does in Star Wars.
How about the Kaiser Legion War? That'd be kind of cool.
It would. I mean, that's all good. I mean, presumptively, all of Fallout is going to reach a boiling point when, you know, like the NCR extends to the mountain ranges in the west.
Oh yeah, Star Fox.
Oh yeah, Star Fox would be really good.
Star Fox would be dope, but that would be good as an anime series or a pseudo 3D style.
Yeah, I
miniseries.
would want Star Fox to be the series for sure.
Yeah, kind of like how they did that like new Godzilla movie thing where they had like 3 movies or something like that to finish it. That would be kind of cool as for Star Fox.
The MonsterVerse or whatever they called it.
I don't know, but yeah.
The one that what was it? It was Godzilla, then Godzilla King of Monsters, then
No. I'm
Long
talking about the
Island.
anime. I'm talking about the animated movies where it was like
Oh, gotcha.
2,000 years later or something like that, and Godzilla's about the size of a mountain.
He's big and he's old.
Big and he's old, and yeah, like that was kind of cool.
Kind of reminded to chat that Jack Black is playing Claptrap in the new Jackbox, the new Borderlands movie. Which I think will be
watch
good.
it just so I can say my piece on it. As much as I'm going to regret it.
I know, for sure. And here's the thing. Here's the shitty part. Here's the weird, like, vice bind that we find ourselves in. You and I, people like us, are sort of obligated to go see video game movies. Like, we have to go see them. Even if we're pretty sure that they're going to be bad, because at the end of the day, we need to convince people that, or we need to contribute to the commercial success of video game movies, even if we're propping up the bad ones so that they can become better, you know, kind of thing.
This is why I usually wait for somebody else to go, find out it's bad, and then wait until it's out of theaters, and then get a copy of it.
Right.
So I'm not helping them get money from it. Because why would I want to pay for dumpster fire?
Right. Killjoy asking a very important question. Would you guys rather have video game story extended with filler and TV series or rushed into a 90-minute movie? I think the unabashed answer to that question, and it's going to sound like a total cop out, and I apologize, is that like it really does depend on the. It really does depend. In general, I think. 5 years when we revisit, if we revisit this conversation 5 years from now, I think we will find that like the Netflix miniseries is the ideal way to present a video game plot.
Yep.
But that wasn't an option. That motif, that idea, the Netflix miniseries and that sort of like streamiverse streaming service kind of style presentation is a very recent phenomenon. That's brand new as far as like media consumption is concerned. Certainly that wasn't an option in the 90s. Even via like mainstream TV. Certainly nothing like this was ever going to get on, cable. So, this idea that like a streaming service would pick up that's a very new concept.
Speaking of which, I know why that they did the Netflix series of Castlevania is to get a new audience into the series so they can essentially kick Konami to actually, I don't know, make more games.
Right, yeah, actually make Konami, well...
Because actually, there's a rumor going around.
If you want Konami to make more video games, you need to go break an absolutely obscene amount of Plinko machines.
Well, there's actually a rumor going around right now, and it's not confirmed, which I really hope it is. But Konami is in talk with Sony about making a PS5 exclusive Castlevania game.
Interesting. Sony and Konami have been talking a lot recently, and they did just get that 10-year. If you guys don't know, Konami has licensed the Metal Gear franchise over to Sony for 10 years.
I wouldn't be surprised if Castlevania's on the list too.
Maybe, yeah. I have a feeling that it was given to Sony with the discrepancy that they cannot let Hideo Kojima anywhere near it. Which is truly unfortunate because it's like, oh my god, that's exactly how we got, here to begin with. But Konami is just so unabashed and so unapologetic in their hatred of that man. And I don't know. Maybe he's difficult to work with. I certainly wouldn't want to be running a $200 million budget that like Hideo Kojima was on the tugging end of. Everything just be buck wild all the time. But boy, oh boy, is he absolutely the voice of Metal Gear. I think in reality we're going to see at least the first few play it.
No.
Not necessarily. No, as far as I know. I mean, influence-wise for sure, but I don't know that there's like any direct ownership there, Theta per se. But I can say that Kojima is licensing to Sony like pretty rapidly. So. Oh yeah, Killjoy brings up an excellent point. What we really need, what the ideal way to do a video game is the Cowboy Bebop method. 25 episodes and then a feature-length movie.
That movie was sad.
That movie was sad.
No, not in the sad of bad. It was sad, like...
No, it was emotionally devastating. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
Doot. I don't really feel... Walking in the rain. I walk in the rain. In the rain. I never knew. Fuck. If he's allowed to consult for the series, that wouldn't be so bad. I literally think that they're not gonna that like Kojima won't allow him to do that. I think they're so spiteful about them keeping that away from anything having to do with Kojima. But who knows? Maybe money is more important than spite.
I think that Konami is also spiteful against Koji Igarashi as well, since he made Bloodstain as a, oh, you don't want to make more Castlevania games? Well, I'm just going to do this and make a new franchise. I wouldn't be surprised.
Konami's the very spiteful folks. They love to hold on. I mean, the fact that they didn't abandon these copyrights like years ago is really indicative of the fact that they are extraordinarily willing to hold on to things to keep other people from making money and maintain the competitive edge, kind of thing. And guess what? You know who else does that? fucking Sony. Sony is another one who is like like to this day has held on to the what is it, like the Fantastic Four rights, even though they've unabashedly failed over and over again to make a Fantastic Four movie. But they're just
Fox
like,
had that, not Sony.
yeah, that's true. But it introduces that idea of like, yeah, but by me having the copyrights, I'm preventing you from making a blockbuster, kind of thing. So, competitive edge.
Yeah, but Sony's slowly shooting themselves in the foot now, thanks to the aspects of what they're doing with their movies. Let's hold on to it and push it back and push it back and push it back.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's trying to figure out how to exist in a world where Marvel and Disney exists, and that like competition with them is a normal and plausible thing. Because I am a firm believer that if you're not ready to play a little dirty against Disney, you will absolutely get run out of town.
It's a Rico.
It's a boy. It's a boy. Here, you come up too. Come up. Come up.
Couples.
There we go. You know who else lives off spite and Plinko machines, Theta? This boy. Spite and Stinko machines.
Like that. Oh, he doesn't look happy.
Chihuahuas.
What are they, Arbor?
Who knows? Okay, well, we should probably wrap this up, Dkaelynd, but we do need to. I figure, we've reached our figurehead here. I think we've talked about what we were going to talk about. I think we need to determine a way to figure out, kind of how to resolve our competition here.
I agree.
Audience is relatively small tonight. We've only got 4 people in chat, so it's going to be a decision down to Killjoy.
Shows that we have 6 people feeling.
Oh, okay, very well. So we'll have to see what people think, but and maybe, who knows, maybe this, if I would also be content to leave this to a poll, a straw poll on the Discord as well. But
I think that might be a good idea too.
And maybe it's just a matter of like who wants to see us suffer through which game.
Well, if I'm going to make you suffer through Undertale, you might as well pick something that's going to be gruesome as well. I'll shoot myself in the foot if I have to play Halo 1.
I'm not interested in making you suffer. I'm interested in making you grow. I want you to play something that I think you will genuinely like, but that you just like wouldn't otherwise. At least that's the objective for me.
All right. I'm game.
But I just don't know what that is. Carrion comes to mind for sure.
Carrion is probably something I would play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you like John Carpenter, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's John Carpenter, the video game.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a reverse horror game. You ever played a reverse horror game?
Yeah, I've played that one.
Okay, cool. It's like a video game where Killjoy, I don't know who these people are. I've never played this game. I've never played Undertale. I don't know what you're talking about. But okay,
The only reason why she's saying that is so you don't have to fight Sans, because
I don't want to know this. I don't want to know.
I know, but she's trying to avoid you from doing that so you don't beat your head against the wall repeatedly.
I feel like that's not their motivation. I feel like their motivation is
kill them all.
AK says shut up. I feel like if I know Killjoy, and I've had a few years to get to know them at this point, I would say that Killjoy's primary motivation is generally emotional. It's a plea. Yeah, that's not a spoiler. It's a plea. Yeah, see, this is a purely emotional sort of appeal that's being made here. Garrett, do you want to hate Megalovania as a song or no? Well, currently I love Megalovania as a song.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, it's great. It's probably one of the best video game themes out there. But I do know somebody had explained to me previously that it is associated with a relatively bonkers boss fight.
Oh yeah. Why are we shouting?
Yeah, let's leave it to a straw poll in the Discord as far as what sort of misery will be inflicted on next.
What should we talk about next time?
Oh God, what were we talking about? Like really, literally right before we started the stream. Remember, we started ranting. Oh yeah, we wanted to talk about D&D editions and and the supplements. We wanted to talk about all the different
Dungeons and Dragons, all of it.
We were comparing what is it like Curse of Strahd to Eberron right before the stream started.
That's what we should call it. Dungeons and Dragons: the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Killjoy, you'll be glad to know that when left to my devices, I usually play pacifist options in games. Usually. There's a few very distinct exceptions, and the biggest one being Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid has an option for an entirely stealth playthrough, and I shoot everyone.
Data, don't feel bad. We've all gone down rabbit holes far too deep than we should have.
Yeah, but
in certain franchises.
Did you go down Homestuck's rabbit hole? It's different than other rabbit holes.
No, but I've gone down other rabbit holes like Undertale at one point, just to see what different iterations there were. Marvel what if stories. Do I have to go on?
No, you don't, because none of those are Homestuck. Yeah, we're gonna go too, Killjoy. It's okay. You're not missing anything. All right, stay tuned for the just do this. Everybody, stay tuned for the straw poll in the Discord, because we'll straw poll for whatever nonsense we're going to we're gonna play through next. I am gonna finish Paradise Killer, and then if it is determined as such, I may play Undertale after that. Scott, I maintain that I want you to play Carrion.
I will play Carrion.
Okay, cool. Because
It'll be one of those.
I think you'll actually like it.
So if the poll says that I lose, I play Carrion. If I win,
we need to agree on what exactly constitutes win and lose here. But we'll talk more about this contest, as it were. But yes, we have determined the stakes, as it is one and or possibly both of us will be playing video games that we wouldn't be playing otherwise.
I got it. We should play a fighting game. A fighting game neither of us have played.
Oh God, I'm
and know nothing
about fighting
that.
Games.
Neither am I. Like I suck at them too.
I'm okay at Xenoverse.
I suck at Xenoverse. Well, kind of.
If you play Undertale on stream, do not have chat visible. Why? Now here's the question. I think I know the answer why, but I want to know what you have to say as to why. Is that to deter me from telling? Yeah. Because I've heard that the Undertale fandom is very notorious for kind of like rating streams en masse, demanding that the video game being played a certain way, and that if it is not played that way, then they get really weird about it.
Rich had this problem when he tried doing it.
Yes.
Is the moment he tried doing a certain path and people were going up in arms about it.
I guess I never quite figured out why specifically Undertale invoked so much emotion in people quite like that. Anybody have any weigh-in on that? Anybody have any weigh-in on like why Undertale specifically was the one that like people just felt so insanely strongly about? Because I don't know, man. I've played a lot of games with divergent endings. Played Mass Effect. Never had anybody sort of like jump down my throat on, taking the Paragon ending.
I am not touching this one. Nope.
Never had. Why aren't you touching this one? You need to help me understand if you are going to lure me into this space.
All right. Because there's emotional ties with the characters that you learn that you devise throughout the game. And each direction and choice that you make in the game determines the outcome of your game. Even if you start over, it is still detriment of your game. That is why Undertale is so unique. It remembers.
Okay. That's not terrible.
No, but
I mean, I understand the intensity of it for sure, or I understand the like the like the variancelessness of this. But that doesn't answer my question of like why has it brought out the level of like interpersonal intensity, people? Because
I'm just gonna
every
say
single major
2020
streamer I know has completely abstained from playing Undertale. For
it's
the explicit
2021.
reason.
It is 2021. The society has gone to this level of yeah, I'm not touching this topic.
If you're gonna turn it into an SJW thing, there's other games. There's other games that like. Why didn't people go there with Detroit Become Human? Nobody's getting bullied online for Detroit Become Human. Nobody is getting bullied online for like for games with like objectively more socially conscious points. So why
It's
Undertale?
Because this game appeals to the younger crowd, and it's easily. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I honestly do not know why.
Okay, cool. Just say that.
Me
That,
why.
that works. Okay. Change the entire story once you change your path. Okay, so it's the permanence of it, and it makes you feel terrible. Okay.
Actually, it's everybody else making you feel terrible.
I
but that's...
can't wait.
In the words of
wait.
Gurr, yay, we're doomed. Well, that's it for the complaint department. I think we're done now. Garrett's doing Undertale. We're all doomed.
Yeah.
Cancel stream.
You suggested this.
I know
You
I did.
planted this bomb.
Yep. Now let's see you defuse it. Or can you?
Here you guys are. All of you, my well-intentioned friends, advising me to go completely blind into something that you tell me is one, very nuanced, and two, if I don't play it precisely right, that I will receive IRL hate mail to a degree that of which I am completely unprepared for.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot.
I'm looking at you too, Scott. You're a part of this mess too.
I'll tell you what. I'll play it as well.
No, that doesn't help us.
We'll do both sides. I'd rather have people. No, I'm kidding.
We need to play it, and then I need to delete the evidence that it ever happened.
This didn't happen. We don't know what you're talking about. We never did.
Yeah, maybe I'll play it on Discord. Maybe
No, you gotta
do it.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be fine.
Okay, I'm gonna think on it then.
You just gotta explain to people, going, "Hey, I understand you want me to do it this way, but I've never played this before, and I want to go."
I am
in
literally
this
trying to do a blind play. Yeah, for sure. And just let the consequences fall where they are. Honestly, everybody should be grateful. I wonder how many people out there honestly have the opportunity to do a completely uninformed, completely blind playthrough of Undertale. The list has got to be small. So, yeah.
Oh, AK's been bugging me about Valheim.
What about Valheim?
I think he wants to set you on fire some more.
Okay. Yeah, I know we're an update deep on that one. I just haven't had a big inkling to really return to that game.
At least until the updates happen.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Wait, we agree that AK is probably like the best Kerbal Space Program player in the world, though, right? Like, even if he doesn't realize it yet. Is that possible? AK, what do you think about that? It seems to me that your highly mathematical, super preparation-centric, very, very sort of like process-oriented brain would absolutely eat that whole thing alive.
Why do I have a feeling that AK would send the Kerbals into like the space age in a matter of like minutes? when he jumped on that
or
game.
he'd be one of those dudes who'd figured out, like, technically you could get to high Kerbal Orbit with just the first 3 parts of the game if you stack them in this sort of method and have the thrusters like melt parts that asks as sort of like a rocket equation differential, and then like you could answer for the weight problem. Blah 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 blah.
On top of that, too, in the midst of him building a ship, I've just discovered warp core.
I've just turned warp core, yes. You don't know rocket science. Yeah, that's my point. You don't know any of these things just yet, but you could. You could know all of them. All right. I'm going to let everybody go. Have a great night. I am back on my normal streaming schedule now that freaking episode 5 of The Poor Life of Rich is done filming. Our 8-hour film shoot turned into roughly a 36-hour film shoot spread out over 4 days based on a combination of production, weather, concerns, and really just chiefly Richie completely and comically underestimating how long it would take to do things.
Ay caramba.
But episode 5 is far and away the coolest thing that we have done in the Poor Life lexicon so far. It is an absolutely absurd, just stupid funny sort of experience and whatnot, and it's definitely the most we've pulled out the stops on it, and it makes me simultaneously love and dread the season finale, episode 8, because it is going to be an absolute considering it's the only episode that is unabashedly more ambitious than episode 5.
Do I got a cameo? I'm kidding. I don't know.
You don't live here. The whole
Neither
point,
does Scott Masterson.
the entirety of the what is it?
I'm kidding. It's fine.
It's supposed to be our quarantine shot. You know.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Very well, very well. That's all I got. You got anything else?
I got nothing.
All right. Got my dog making squeaky noises. So, tomorrow, for you.
Part 2 of Final Fantasy VI.
Part 2 of Final Fantasy VI. Very good. This weekend, we're looking at Poor Life of Rich on Saturday morning, maybe Friday night, depending on how things go.
Right.
Are you doing your co-op stream on Saturday as well?
All determines on the people.
Okay.
If Darkness and Cosmic are available, awesome. If anybody else wants to join us, we could do something else.
Yes.
I mean, we've got a lot of subscribers now. Why not? Yeah, hit the Discord and let us know if you're interested.
Say
We'll figure
Vladimir
things out.
mentioned Theta at this point because I watched them get subs today.
Yeah.
So that's all good. You guys are available for our Saturday, or certainly there's a spot available for you in the Saturday streams if you want to. And then Monday I will most definitely be picking up.
I still haven't gotten the bot set up. I'm still working on that. Yeah, I know. I'm working on that. I got to talk with the guys and figure out how to do this because I've never done this before.
I can just copy pasta a link. It's fine. But
Yeah,
that's okay. I'm going to close out of this. Good night to everybody. More content and more stuff coming around the bend there. There's the Discord. So specifically the complaint department link. We don't chat on there a whole lot. We're usually on RMA, but if you ever want like the stuff very specific to the user streams and whatnot, we pretty much coordinate 100% of that on there. So, or like the Secret World stuff or any of the on-stream stuff, that's good. So
We can discuss it, Theta. Don't worry.
yeah, I was going to say, I think you'll find that most of the games, particularly Scott, he's over here, particularly most of the games that Scott chooses are pretty reasonable as far as their system requirements are concerned. So
Maybe run a D&D campaign and stream it.
maybe run a D&D campaign and stream it, Scott says. There has been some talk of that. Apparently, the tabletop simulator stuff is looking pretty good. You need to check out Tailspire, Scott. I need to show you that.
I'm game.
To that point, I'm out. But I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. And enjoy your evening. We'll be around. Yeah.
Later.
I don't think that song needs to be that loud. And I think the credits should actually play here.